Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to Trip Talks. This is the show where I interview successful e commerce entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders and ask them questions about their business story and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today I'm really excited to welcome Oscar Edelman to the show. Oscar is the founder of Remi. Remi is a company that creates high quality custom night guards and teeth whitening kits. And Oscar is on a mission to give everyone a good night's sleep. And today I'm going to ask Oscar a few questions about his entrepreneurial journey and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to start and grow his business. So thank you so much for joining me today at Trip Talks, Oscar. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So as I understand, based on some of the research that I did, you're a former VC turned founder. So how
Guilty
did
as charged. Yes.
okay. So how did that how did you make that journey and why this product category specifically?
Sure. So before starting my company, I was doing early stage VC consumer investing. We were a young fund, invested about $100 million over the course of 2 years into 78 early stage consumer companies. One of the thesis-driven investment categories we had was cutting out the middleman, right? How do we make products more accessible for consumers, whether it be more convenient or more affordable, or hopefully both? And I had seen a lot of really great examples of products, of markets, of founders and founding teams. And when an opportunity arose in my own life, and I'm happy to kind of tell that story of how I found Remi. But when an opportunity arose, I realized, I know what it takes. I've seen this happen, almost 80 times in front of my eyes. And now is my opportunity to flip on the other side of the table and be in the founder share.
And how did that opportunity come? Like how did you find this specific
Sure,
product and
sure.
idea?
So I've been grinding my teeth for over 10 years now. And I will be the first to admit I have lost almost as many night guards as years that I've been using them. And each time I've gone into the dental office and told the dentist, hey, I need a new night guard. And the process basically is you make an appointment, you walk in, the dentist says hello and leaves. The hygienist walks into the room, takes your
Hmm.
impressions, takes all of 5 minutes, and most of that is just waiting for
Hmm.
it to cure, and then you leave. And what I had found out is that then it gets sent to a third-party lab, and then they call you up 2 weeks later, and you come and you pick it up. So I'd gotten kind of used to this rhythm, but what I hadn't gotten used to is a price increase. I'd gone to the same dentist for a handful of years in a row, and I'd always paid $450 out of pocket for a single night guard. And because I switched dental insurance, I went to a different dentist, but that dentist was in the same building, in the same suite line, the same number of doctors, almost an exact carbon copy of my original dentist, only on a different floor.
Hmm.
And this dentist told me the night guard's going to be $650. I said, whoa, $200 difference. And, what's that about? Oh, well, the rent and the labor's expensive. I said, yeah, but, we're talking about somebody who has exactly the same business as you. And I couldn't get a good answer.
Hmm.
And so that's what led me down this rabbit hole of doing research on the space. And the more dentists I called and the more fabrication labs I spoke to, the more I realized, in this process, the dentist isn't really adding value.
Hmm.
And what value the experience you might get at the dental office is just not worth the difference between what it costs to manufacture this product and what you're paying. It should
Hmm.
not cost $500 for you to good night's sleep. And I hope you don't mind. I want to share one more tidbit, because this is a part I'm really passionate about.
Hmm.
There are so many folks out there who grind their teeth and clench their jaw at night. And the data is all over the place, but the median, the average, if you will, suggests about a third of adult Americans grind their teeth at night.
Hmm.
And most cannot afford to spend $500 on a piece of plastic. And if they lose it, they certainly can't afford to replace it again and again and again. And so what a lot of folks do is they go out to, CVS, Walmart, the drugstore, and they buy a football guard that's masquerading as a night guard. And it's a thick, hockey puck size rubber, put it in the microwave, drop it in a pot of boiling water, it cools around your teeth. And, that's often what people think of when they think of a night guard. It's this big, bulky thing in your mouth. And that is disruptive to sleep. It causes long-term dental health concerns with gum recession. And I just realized that if we're able to cut out the middleman, not only is it saving folks who would have purchased that custom night guard hundreds of dollars, but it's allowing people who previously were unable to get a good night's sleep because they didn't have the right solution in their mouth to all of a sudden be able to afford what they deserved all along.
And so was this when you did your research, nobody had ever thought of doing this, like cutting the middleman or the dentist out of the picture?
Sure, of course people had thought of it. There were even and still even are other folks who were trying to do it. But in an opportunity like this, it comes down to, do you have the capital to do it right? Do you have the ability to market it in a really effective way? Can you build a strong brand around it? And do you have the right team and the right advisors in place? And I was very lucky because I was coming from the world of venture capital. I was able to secure the funding, really with a pitch deck and a dream. And was able to surround myself with really smart marketers and branders and advisors. And we were able to launch and sort of quickly take the #1 spot. There are still folks, right? You can go on Amazon and you can find, often overseas copycats who, would do this and will try to offer something like what we're offering. But a lot of this product comes down to the customer experience because, I mail you a kit, you take your impressions. That's not something you've done yourself before, right? So you need my help. I need to guide you through really effective, videos and instructions and maybe even, Zoom call with a dental professional. And then you send it back to us. We create the custom night guard and then we send it back to your home. So there is sort of a sense of you get what you pay for from the customer experience standpoint. We want to make sure that we offer a really high quality customer experience. So we focus a lot on our customer service and on our team and on the process that every customer goes through, right? When you take your impressions, you submit a photo of those impressions to us. We make sure you're on the right track. We give you personalized feedback, and then you have another set of impressions in your box. You do it for a second time just to make sure we've got it perfect. So we can ensure a perfect fit. It's little steps like that. It costs us more, it's attention to detail, but it improves the customer experience. And that is in large part what has separated us and the reviews we've received online from some of the lower end folks in the market, if you will.
Okay. So your value proposition is really that the customer does not have to go to a dental office. They get the kit. They can do it at the convenience of your home, at their home, and the quality is the same as what they would get from going to a dental office, but at a lower price.
Correct. There's the convenience of not needing to go to the dental office. There's the affordability, right? It costs, $100 for 2 guards rather than $500 for one. And there's the comfort aspect to it. And we have slightly shifted the business model of the industry. Traditionally, you go in, you get a night guard, you pay $500, you leave, and that's it. And so if you break your night guard or you lose your night guard the next day, you start over from zero. And because you spent $500 on it, you would expect that night guard to last forever. And so because there's this expectation, hey, if I grind this night guard down in 6 months, I'm not going to come back to my dentist with my checkbook. I'm going to come back with a pitchfork, right? I just spent $500 on this.
Yeah.
For us, we've changed the business model a little bit so that we keep your impressions saved on file, right? We keep a 3D scan of it. So you don't ever need to take your impressions again, unless you'd like to, or you have your dental work done, right? And as a result of keeping it on file, at the beginning, we had all these customers who kept ordering them frequently, right? And what we realized is we could put this on a subscription. So we automatically send you new night guards every, say, 6 months. And the advantage of sending you new night guards every 6 months is we can then focus on making sure it's as comfortable as possible. Not that it's going to last you 10 years, but that you're actually going to want to use it and put it in your mouth every night. So we're now using some really advanced, plastics that have durability, right? But they're really focused on the comfort. So when we talk about how is Remi different from, the incumbent, it is the convenience of not having to leave your home. It is the affordability of being, 80% less. But it's also this comfort factor, right? Of knowing you've always got a backup. You can always get another. They're always a couple of days away. You've got them on subscription. You've got fresh ones coming to you. They're thinner and more comfortable so that they're not so bulky at night. You can, sleep comfortably. You can speak with them in. So while the quality is as good or better than what you get from the dental office, because the business model is a little different, we say the comfort is higher.
Okay. And so just so I understand, so the night guards, yours is more like a 6-month use product that the value of changing it is really around hygiene and
hygiene is a big one. Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it like a toothbrush. So an analogy would be, if we lived in a world where a toothbrush costs $500, we would make them with a titanium handle and steel bristles because you'd want that toothbrush to last forever. But that's not going to be the most comfortable toothbrush that you use. Instead, we make a toothbrush that has soft bristles. So you actually like using it. Now, it's not going to last as long as a steel brush. However, it costs, a fraction of what the steel does. And so as a result, we can send them to you on a more frequent basis. Same with running shoes. There's so many things in our life, razors, that we've gotten used to where the optimal use case is to have a new fresh one every X number of days, weeks, or months. This hadn't happened in the night guard space, and now that's what we're doing. Okay.
And the reason dentists were charging, and I don't know if dentists are still charging those prices, but because it was the whole insurance covers this product, and so insurance can they can charge that kind of money because insurance is covering it, and is that the reason that they're
unfortunately not. I wish that was the case.
Okay.
The truth of the matter is very, very few dental insurance programs cover night guards because night guards are considered preventative. So, I wish that insurance covered night guards. It would make, our business stronger. But the reality is 95+% of policies do not. The reason that dentists are still charging $500 for a custom night guard is because customers are not aware, patients are not aware that there's alternatives. So that's really where, my work is cut out for me from a marketing and a branding standpoint to make sure that folks are aware your two options are not a $5 football guard from Walmart or a $500 night guard from your dentist. There is this middle option. That's really where we come in.
Okay. And you did mention that, because you're coming from the VC world, it was easy for you to get the funding for this business and so forth. What does it take to start this kind of a business? Like, just by what you're describing, it doesn't sound to me like it requires a huge investment unless like you require some specialized machines that are creating these night guards. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So first, I'll say, if I use the word easy, then I may have misspoke.
Okay.
I was lucky to be in the world of VC. So I was able to get my foot in the door, to get a lot of
Okay.
meetings. And I would not say that fundraising, even in the environment 3 years ago, was easy. Certainly, it would be much harder today than it was then. But to answer your question of sort of what it took to get started, this business, because every order we produce is fully custom, is incredibly operationally complex. Just the idea that we send you a kit, you take your impressions, you send it back to us. We use that impression to manufacture your night guards for you. We have dental professionals here in the US who help us with that. And then we send it back to the customer. There's 3 ways of shipping. There's a lot of communication. When it comes to the manufacturing, there's no margin for error, 0. If you put a night guard on your teeth and it is 1 millimeter incorrect, it doesn't work. And so as a result of the complexity from an operations perspective, figuring all that out, that's the intellectual property. That's the trade secrets, right?
Okay.
How do we at tens of thousands of orders per month in a cost-effective way make sure that everybody in it gets a quick, affordable, and perfectly fitting solution. That's the barrier, if you will. But
Okay.
machinery, knowledge, capital, you need all of it. But a lot of it comes down to the know-how of scaling a business like this from an operations perspective, especially one that's so complex.
So, like when you started this business, were you looking for different ideas? I mean, of course, in the world, you can solve a lot of different problems. And, in terms of opportunity, I'm sure there are other problems that probably have bigger opportunity in the world. If you're in the VC world, I'm sure you come across, wide range of ideas. So what motivated you to like get into, I mean, this very unique, rare kind
This
of
was
a
a
thing?
problem
Or
that affected me.
okay.
I mean, the truth of the matter is, I needed a night guard. I
Mm,
wanted to find a cost-effective solution to fix my problem, and in doing so, I realized there must be many other people who feel the same way. Um, you're right. There are many areas that still have middlemen. There are many areas that could be attacked in the way that Remi has kind of attacked this industry. But in reality, when someone works on a pain point, on a problem they truly understand, that they truly deal with, I believe the outcome is always better. Um, I'm not a big fashion guy, right? It's true I could start a fashion company, but I wouldn't even know where to begin because I don't know anything about fashion, right?
mm,
But night guards I've been wearing for 10 years. Night guards I
mm.
bought many times. And as I did more and more research, I realized it was a space I could really get comfortable with. And that's a big part of why I chose to do this.
And I guess this was a market that you knew that there was a market for it. There's like a pain point that the customer or the person definitely has to solve in one way or another. And so you came up with your value proposition, which was definitely going to be a much, as people talk about, 10x improvement or whatever. This was going to be, from a pricing perspective, going to be a huge improvement. So you didn't really have to, or did you go through some sort of a validation process to really try to
Oh,
figure out, yes, if if this is really going to work or not?
we had an MVP. We had early, unpaid beta customers, users, really, I should say. Yeah, there was a lot for us to figure out. The question was never, would people want to purchase this item?
Mm,
And it wasn't, is the market big enough? The
mm,
question was how to do this,
mm,
right? How logistically, how from an operations perspective, are we going to make something mail order that has always been done in person?
mm,
And how are we going to sort of interact with our customers in a way that makes sense, right? Is it that we need to set up 1 million retail locations all over the country? Is it that we need to, schedule a sort of teledoc Zoom consultation with every single customer? Is it that we can, find ways around these and still have an accurate impression and still produce a high quality product? A lot of it we were testing was what type of economics are there, right? I mean, the labs who produce these for dental offices, their economics are actually not that great on this product. They're in business for crowns and bridges and sort of the high dollar dental work that you have done. Night guards for them is just something oftentimes doing for the doctor office anyway. So we wanted to make sure that there was actually money that could be made here as well. A lot of that was part of the early validation process.
And was there any learning from the optical or the glasses, online glasses industry where, I mean, there's a few different kinds of business models. You send your prescription and you'll get your glasses made. And sometimes, because I wear glasses, I've found, I would place an order and the glasses are actually made in a different country, maybe somewhere in Asia, and it's shipped here because, it's probably cheaper to get that done there.
Yeah.
Your model seems very similar to that. Of course, I guess in terms of glasses, there's less chances of error because, you have a very specified prescription, but in your case, there's a little bit more room for error.
Yeah.
What did you ever consider like learning from that industry, or you were completely different?
We've learned a lot. In fact, one of the founders of a very large company in this space, not glasses but contacts, is an investor in Remi, and through him we learned a tremendous amount, not just about the operations and the logistics and the manufacturing, but also customer experience and customer support. And most companies are set up with bare bones customer support because it's very simple, right? Was there a problem or not? Was there a shipping error or not, right? If so, yes, return it. For us and for folks like, the glasses and the prescription contact companies, there's a lot more give and take. It's a lot more of a conversation with the customer, and so many more customers have questions because of the novelty of the sort of business model, if you will, that you really have to have a different level of customer service. And we learned a lot from those folks.
Okay. Now, I know you said that your manufacturing is kind of the secret, the trade secret, but my assumption is, so I went on your website, and on your like About Us page, you have like a team of people. I'm assuming that this team is not responsible for manufacturing, and your manufacturing is outsourced. Maybe a different company is responsible for that, and shipping out the products and so forth. You mentioned the team is very important. Can you share a little bit about around your team and how things run?
Yeah. So first I'll say we do manufacture everything ourselves. Okay. Everything is done here in the US. Everything is done with Remi employees, with dental professionals employed by us. I think the team photo you mentioned on our website is probably from a little while back when we were quite a bit smaller. As you know, as you grow, it's harder and harder to get everybody in the same room to take a photo. Yeah. Everything is done by us.
How big is your team right now?
We've got a little over 40 folks.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We have a little over 40 folks on the Remi team right now, and candidly, that's growing pretty quickly. We're halfway through November, and Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all of the Q4 online shopping is coming up, so we're scaling up pretty aggressively. But to answer your question, at least the first part of your question. We do it in-house. We do it primarily because when you start to outsource, other people take a profit. And when other people take a profit, you essentially have a middleman. And maybe this middleman is less greedy than the middleman we're trying to put out of business. But the truth is that every time you get another company involved in your process, you lose a little control and you lose a little bit of the margin. And so for us, by keeping our trade secrets close, by keeping our manufacturing in-house, by keeping it local and really high quality here in the US, rather than trying to do this overseas, we get a level of quality and control and speed that I think we wouldn't be able to get if we were outsourcing.
Okay. Now, you did mention that part of building this business, a big part of it is really the marketing and the branding aspect of it, and customer education, or at least awareness. Can you share a little bit about when you launched? How did you build the awareness for your company, for your brand, for these products? And how has your marketing evolved since? Like, what is working great in terms of customer acquisition and so forth?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we got started, we were focused primarily on Facebook, which I think a lot of direct-to-consumer companies do. At the time, at the early days, we were seeing a lot of traffic being paid. We weren't focused on SEO. We weren't as focused on Google search. Our theory was, if we get out there and we push our ads in front of people, we'll eventually find the right customers. And over time, what we've learned is that the more data that we have on our customers, the better that works. But still, the inbound, the search, people who are already actively looking to buy a night guard, those are the lowest hanging fruit. And so over time, we've spent more effort on things like Google search. Pretty early on, we listed on Amazon, not because Amazon is necessarily the best place to sell this product, but just because the search volume for night guards on Amazon is it's pretty incredible. And while most folks on Amazon are looking for a deal, and so they're buying the $10 or the $5 football guards, and realize there's an opportunity to sell our product there as well, and use Amazon as really a lead gen, almost an extension of Google search for us. Today we do a huge amount of advertising on TikTok. A large portion of our marketing is focused on email marketing. We see almost half of all of our sales coming from organic at this point, which is great. We've got some big aspirations on the marketing front coming down the turnpike. We have a direct mail campaign that's going to be reaching a significant number of households here at the very end of this calendar year. At a certain point, you start testing everything, right?
Do you ever think about partnering with your
dental offices?
But dental office.
Yeah,
because that's probably
we have dental offices reached out to us every single day, asking about partnership and affiliate referral type of opportunities. We have a dental practice partner program. We have somebody on the team who manages that. We have many dental offices in every state throughout the country now, who we've partnered with. It's interesting. We receive almost all of the inbound requests for the dental practice partner program from dental offices in lower income areas. And it is because those are the practices that find that they can't sell $500 night guards, and that's crazy. And so they, as doctors, want to provide the best care for their patients, and they see Remi as a affordable opportunity for their patients to do that. And the fact that we partner with them and give them a piece of the revenue means that not only is it better for the patient because the product is much higher quality than, say, going to Walmart for a $5 football guard, but when the patient walks out the door and goes to Walmart, the dentist gets nothing. So for us to share in a piece of that revenue for the dentist is it's more than nothing. So it's a win-win-win, if you will. We do not have a lot of success of bringing very high-end practices in wealthy neighborhoods, because at the end of the day, those are dentists that are still convincing people that they need to pay $500 for a night guard. I think as our dental practice partner program expands, we may things may change over time. I think in large part, even folks who have the ability or the desire to pay $500 for a night guard value their time. And so to be able to do this from home in private on their own schedule and not have to go to the dentist, once to take the impressions and once to pick it up is a big deal for folks who, may have less financial limitations. So over time, I see that shifting. But today, the majority of our partners in that space are just trying to find more affordable methods for their patients.
That's awesome. Have you ever tried going on Shark Tank or something like that, where you can get mass access to like a large number of people eyeballs, even if you're not interested in getting like investment?
That is a great question. And I have a few friends who have been on Shark Tank specifically over the years. It's a great marketing channel. I know this sounds funny, but because of the structure of our business, if we received 1 million orders tomorrow, that would probably sink our company. Okay. Because we have limitations because of the complexity of the operations and because of the precision required for the manufacturing. We can grow 20-25% month over month forever, but can we 1000x the number of orders in a single month and still be able to fulfill them in a timely manner? Not really. So companies that do well on Shark Tank prepare a warehouse full of goods and a team ready to ship them out as soon as that show airs. For us, I think that would be a challenge because each order is custom. So I do like the way you're thinking, but we have to be a little bit more controlled, unfortunately, just because of the nature of the customization.
So growth for you is more organic. Like if you go out to invest, let's say, additional marketing investment, and you start getting, then you know that you have to slowly start, maybe grow your team also. Has that been the trajectory that,
Yeah, I mean, growth can still be quick. It just can't be violent.
Okay.
So yeah, we look at growth from 3 angles: from new marketing channels, right? Like adding TikTok, which we did a handful of months ago, or direct mail, which we're doing at the end of the year. We look at growth from a distribution channel. So today we're sold on our website, we're sold on Amazon, we're sold on Walmart.com. What does Remi on a retail shelf look like? Right, that's something we'll hopefully find out in 2023. And then the third area that we look at is the product portfolio. We started with the night guard, and that has sold very well. Customers asked us if they could use the night guards to whiten their teeth. The answer is yes. They couldn't find anything that worked well overnight, so we developed, a custom whitening formula that doesn't cause sensitivity because it can be worn overnight. Longer exposure time means lower potency. You can get the same effect without the sensitivity normally associated with whitening. We added the cleaning and whitening dual action foam after that. More recently, the night guard removal tool, and then we just launched the ultrasonic cleaner, which sold out in about 3 days. My mistake. and for not ordering and manufacturing more of them. But that'll be corrected hopefully later this month. So, from increasing the marketing channels, increasing our distribution channels, and increasing our product portfolio, those are really the three areas where we see the growth for the company coming from.
Okay, that's really great. So from a marketing channel perspective, you said TikTok, you're doing TikTok advertising, not like a organic TikTok. And how is that working?
Yeah, I'm personally not a big TikToker, so you won't find any organic videos of me on there. Primarily we're doing paid ads. I think there was a time when you could pay influencers to post on their accounts and see an ROI from that. I think today so many influencers are they're smart. They know that the more followers, the more influence they have, the more companies and brands will pay for their services. And unfortunately, we found that oftentimes the influence is not genuine. And the number of followers doesn't always correlate with the relationship that influencer has. So we focus on really great content creators, people who produce really high quality, clear messaging content, can relate to the camera, can relate to the people on the other side of the screen. And then we post those as ads and pay for the eyeballs, pay for the traffic. And we see a much higher return doing it that way.
So these content creators are not necessarily your employees. You're basically finding talent somewhere else and getting that content.
It's a mix. We have a lot of customers who love their Remi products and want to film content for us. And then that's sort of the inbound. On the outbound side, we find amateur actors, folks who are just getting started, people on Instagram who are commenting and liking on our product. The sweet spot for us is to find folks who genuinely have the problem and can understand and explain the pain point and are good in front of the camera. Sometimes it's our customers. Sometimes it's people who want the night guard and we send them a night guard in exchange for content. But our focus is primarily on the quality of the content, not on the reach of the individual filming it.
Okay. Now, you did mention that of course, in your business, you require three-way shipping and fulfillment. How are you solving that issue? Have you partnered with some shipping companies that are giving you great rates on that? Are you, is your pricing like, I'm assuming it's inclusive of all the shipping and things like that? Like, can you share a little bit about your fulfillment process?
Yeah, happy to. As we scale, our pricing on everything we do improves. Shipping is no exception to that. We're at the scale now where we have a contract with USPS and are able to get very preferable rates. Remi Club members receive free shipping. And so you're right, because our product requires 3 shipping labels, an impression kit to your house, the impression kit back to us, and then the final product to your house. Our shipping costs, are 3 times higher than the average product. So it is important that we negotiate and get good pricing from folks like USPS, and we're able to essentially absorb the shipping costs and offer that for free to our customers.
Okay. So right now you're only in the US, but do you have any plans of going internationally?
That is a good question. Right now we are only in the US. Okay. That's about as much as I can say on the topic. But that is a fact, and that is true. The US market is huge. We are clearly the front runner. We're clearly the best brand in the space. And if you live in the US and you are open to buying a night guard online, Remi is the solution. That said, we are still only in the minds of a small percentage of the folks who are buying night guards every day. It's a very, very large market. It's a third of US adults. And while we feel over the last 3 years we've scaled our business, the truth is we're still a drop in the bucket, even just here in the US. So international expansion is exciting. But as I'm sure other founders on your show have expressed in the past, with it comes just tremendous complexity. So often better to continue dominating in what you know best than make an already complex business even more complicated before it needs to be.
Definitely. So is this company your life's last mission
Will I
now?
pass Remi down to my children? Is that what you're asking?
Well, what is your vision like? Is this your life's work? Is this like, do you really want to just continue building this company for the rest of your life and really just, as you're saying, pass it on to your children, or is this more of a, because there are different kind of entrepreneurs, right? Some entrepreneurs, they build a company, they build it to a certain place and they sell it and then they move on to a different thing. What is your, have you thought about this, or is it too early for you to still think about something like your exit strategy?
Every founder has thought about this. If a founder comes on the show and says that they haven't thought about the exit, I don't believe them. Yeah, I've thought about it. Oftentimes entrepreneurs start a business, they make a lot of money, and then they try to find a way to have a positive impact on the world. And I feel very fortunate because my company, Remi, has a really positive impact. And so I don't feel this itch to, sell the company so I can start a foundation, because I know that, what I'm doing today does make a really positive impact. What the future holds is really hard to tell. I can say that I feel like we're just getting started here. I see a very clear path to 10x the business in the short term. And that's not the time when you sell a company. So I'm excited for it. I've been doing this for almost exactly 3 years to the day. I would be very happy to be doing this another 3 years from now. What I'll be doing 30 years from now, I don't know if anybody can answer that question.
So you started your company on November 14th? Or
I started the company, I think it was November 22nd or somewhere right before Thanksgiving of that year. I don't recall the day exactly, but right around where we are today. Everybody was getting ready to go home for Thanksgiving.
Okay, cool. So in every entrepreneur's journey, there's always mistakes made, lessons learned. What have been some of your, or failures, where you thought that maybe you made a big mistake, or it was a failure, or you thought you could have done something differently? What did you learn from that, and what can other entrepreneurs learn from your mistakes?
Yeah, I really came out of the gate swinging. And within the first 2 months of the company, I had spent $100,000 on performance marketing, and I had spent many tens of thousands of dollars on the first version of our website. And I did all of that without really understanding how to market to our customers, who exactly our customers are, how to reach them, what language to use, what do they respond in a positive way to. I was determined to start strong. And it was a strong start, but it was not an efficient start. When I look at the efficiency of an ad dollar that Remi spends today, rather than back then, we're 100 times more efficient than we were. And if I had that money back and I could spend it today, I'd be a lot happier. So it's not to say that a slow start is the goal, but there's something to be said for keeping it very lean at the beginning. You do not need a $50,000 website to get started. You do not need to spend tens of thousands of dollars paying, marketing folks to tell you how to market. You really need something lean, and you need to start listening, talking to the customers, understanding what works and what doesn't, doing a million tests. And if you spend a bunch of money testing, then it was money well spent. If you spend a bunch of money on a great looking website and on a handful of Facebook ads, it's not, regret is not the right word, but you'll look back on it later and say, I wish I had spent a little bit less there and spent instead more time really understanding the customer.
And was the reason for that you were coming as a VC, background in your own path? So, and you decided to do basically everything on your own because, someone who was a little bit more experienced on like the web business model and advertising side of things, maybe they would have advised you otherwise.
Definitely, that was a first-time founder mistake. There have been many mistakes like that where I've spent money or wasted time that, I've got saved up here. And so, if and when there is a second company one day, I'm going to be able to save. I'll make other mistakes, I'm sure. Every founder makes mistakes. It's impossible not to make mistakes because your whole job is making decisions. But there were plenty that were made because, I'm a first-time founder. And despite having watched, almost 80 really great founders build their companies, watching somebody build their company is different than building a company yourself. Now that I've built a company, I won't make those mistakes next time. And I think that happens for every founder.
Definitely. So that's a great lesson. Now we're going to move on to our rapid fire segment. And in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions and you have to answer maybe in a few words or one or two sentences. So the first one is one book that you would recommend to entrepreneurs or business professionals and why?
Ooh, that's a good question. One of my favorite books of all time is Snowball. It's a book on Warren Buffett. I've read it probably 3 times over the past handful of years. I think it gives the best insight into Warren Buffett's mind. I've read a handful of books on him, and I think it does the best job. And in my opinion, he is the epitome. He's the apex. He's the best example of a businessman who's patient. And as a result of that patience, has done very well. And I think from a founder perspective, whether you're just getting started or you're on your second company, the lesson that patience provides is really very important.
Okay. And in a way, that's great. I mean, I know, personally, I would have, Warren Buffett is a business person. I would call him more of an investor than more, because he's not really running business. He's great at hiring other people who can run businesses probably better than him. He's really good at, I think, learning and then utilizing that patience in his like investment strategy, I guess. I don't know if you agree with me, but
I certainly agree with you. But I think whether you're investing or starting a company, or starting anything, the virtues that he's demonstrated, and I think that book shows, are good lessons that can be applied regardless of what you're doing.
Yeah. Are you a Charlie Munger fan or not?
Sure, absolutely. I had hoped to go to the 2021 shareholders convention in Omaha. Unfortunately, COVID disrupted that. So it is still on my bucket list. Okay. Who knows? Maybe I'll get to go next year.
Yeah, I mean, there may not be a lot of time left before you can.
I know, I
I mean,
know.
it's so interesting. Charlie Munger is such a sharp guy, even at like 95 or whatever age he is, and sharp and funny. It's like, yeah, great.
I agree.
And an innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you feel excited about.
That's not my own, I assume.
That's not your own. Yeah.
Um,
What product excites you?
yeah. I don't know if it's a single product, but I would say the area that excites me right now is there's a lot of new software focused on marketing attribution, on how do you attribute the dollars you're spending to sales. Facebook used to do this really well. Now they're garbage at it. A lot of the newer platforms are not that good at it. A lot of the traditional platforms like direct mail and television are not good at it. And it is maybe the most important thing when it comes to e-commerce and direct-to-consumer marketing. If you don't know how you're spending those dollars, you don't really know what your CAC is, you don't really know where it's coming from, you don't know how to scale it. There are a couple of tools out there right now that I think are getting better and better, that are almost replacing what Facebook once offered. If you are listening to this and you're a founder in this space, it may be time to look and see what else is out there, because some new stuff has come out even over the last few months. I think is really powerful.
Any specific names?
I'm not going to name drop. I don't want to give too
Okay.
many hints. But if you do
I
your
mean, that's the
research,
idea. That's the idea of this
find
podcast. You
exactly,
have to share something.
exactly. Well, email me if you can't find something good. How's that?
Okay. All right. A business or productivity tool or software that you would recommend, or a productivity tip?
Ooh, okay. Since my last answer was sort of about productivity software to a degree, I'll give a tip on this one. Um, when I was first starting Remi, I had completely blocked my calendar. I had blocks for everything that I was doing throughout the
Mm,
entire day. And that forced me to be hyper efficient with my time. I knew
mm,
exactly what I was spending my time on that day, that week. Um, and as the company grew, I kind of stopped doing that.
mm,
In part because there were just always a million fires to put out, and I was no longer prioritizing my time ahead of time with what needs to get done, but just with what fire is, burning the hottest at this moment.
mm,
Now that the company has matured a little bit more, um, I've gone back to the time blocking,
mm,
especially certain days to have meetings, certain days for deeper work. Um, Not having to switch back and forth as much, I've found helps with my productivity and the way I work and think. And forcing yourself into less switching by
mm.
blocking your time, I found is a good way to do that.
Do you find that, I mean, that's definitely a great approach for productivity and getting things done. Do you find that how do you find time to do like creative thinking, or like thinking on you about your business in like creative ways? Of course, you're blocking time to for execution, but do you ever take time, and if yes, how do you do that to really think more, really to get away from the business onto the execution side and think, more creatively, like big picture, things like that.
Well, I do block time for creative thinking too. Um, Personally, my business is an in-person business. I don't have work from home at Remi. We're in the office working as a team, hands-on every day, whether you're in manufacturing, which obviously can't be done from home, or marketing, right? Because in reality, I believe that, when you sit around a table brainstorming, you get more done. Um, Ironically, when I need to brainstorm and be creative, I get out of the office. So my work from home afternoons or half day Friday or even just 30-minute walk at the end of the day, that's when I get to do my unstructured thinking. Not being in the office means that you can silence your phone and people aren't knocking on your door every 5 minutes with a question. So you can really focus in with your thoughts.
Final question. Best business advice you ever received or you would give to other entrepreneurs starting out?
Ooh, I hate to say it, but I'm going to have to give a piece of advice that I know you hear all the time, which is surrounding yourself with people who give you really good advice is the best piece of advice I think anybody could ever give. And the investors, advisors, my founder friends, as I call them, friends who are also building businesses at the same time as I am. They're my best sounding board. They're my gut check. They're in many ways sort of my intuition. And there's no way that Remi would be where it is today without sort of this counsel. So even before you start building a company, I think you need to be surrounding yourself with the counsel, with these types of people who will help you not only decide if your idea and your business before you get started is a good one, but will be able to help advise you along the way.
Definitely. Well, Oscar, those were all the questions that I had. It was definitely a great, insightful interview. Really enjoyed speaking with you. If someone is who's watching this interview wants to get your products, what is the best way they can do that?
Sure. So first, if you'd like to reach out to me, follow up on anything discussed here, my email is always open. It's just founder@shopremi.com. If you'd like to take a look at our website and our products, again, it's just shopremi.com. Super easy. SHOPREMI.com. Obviously would love to get feedback on the product for anybody who's listening. From a customer and a founder perspective, if you'd like to share thoughts with me, feel free to drop me an email. I appreciate the support.
Thank you, Oscar. That was really great. Thank you again for joining me today at Trap Talks, for sharing your time and your ideas. So really appreciate it. Thanks again for joining me.
Thank you.